I do got to say, I always like to say my favorite thing about the person at the beginning. So,
Uh-oh.
yes. So the way I met you was because I went to Novel, South Florida, right? My friend Diva invited me, and she said, you have to go there. There's amazing women over there. But then she said, Erica. She said,
I.
you have to meet Erica. She's amazing, and this, and that. And I don't like when people overhype people because then I meet the person and they're like, ugh, you know. But then I met you, and holy moly, I was like, her smile. Your
Aw.
smile, the energy you bring to the place, and then you gave me a hug. And
Mine.
the whole universe stopped. And that hug, I mean, you hugged me like if you knew me already. The energy you transmitted, I'm not a very juju kind of person, but like that that energy you gave, and every
Aw.
time I talk about you, people always say, the energy Erica brings to the place, and that's amazing. That's something that a lot of people wish they could have. That's something that a lot of people wish they could do, and I'm sure you have a lot of people learning from you how to do that. So with no further ado, this is Erika Obando. This amazing woman right here has done so much. I mean, from coaching, mentoring, speaking, TED Talk, book, second book coming on the way, I just found out. And past president now of Novel South Florida. You were leading all the alpha women of
All
South
the
Florida.
yes.
Yes.
That's a great way to put it.
And so much more, and you're a mom, an artist. I mean, so many things, and I want to know, where do you have the time, the energy to do all of this? How do you, like, what kind of coffee do you drink in the morning? Tell
Well,
me.
what's funny, well, thank you for that introduction, by the way. It's very humbling. Funny enough is I'm Colombian, de Medellin, Paisa, right? And I don't drink coffee. I mean, I
Oh.
know that somebody once told me they were going to take my Colombian card away for saying
Yes,
that.
yes.
But I started getting used to it. I don't drink coffee. I'm more of a tea person. But as far as the time, it's funny because I was going to say I sleep standing up, kind of like this. But no, I have the same 24 hours. I'm just extremely, extremely strict with my boundaries and my time. I mean, I say to people, if it's in my phone, it exists. And I stick to it
Yeah.
because I know in my mind I have to get a lot of things done. I want to get a lot of things done. So I'm very intentional about my time, even
Yeah.
scheduling this, right?
Yes.
It was just like, yes, I have this block of time and I'm there. Because we have one life to live.
Yes.
And we're getting shorter and shorter in the time as we age, right? And so I was like, I want to get all this stuff done. So I'm very strict with my boundaries.
Yeah, that's
And because
important.
of it, I've experienced a lot of great stuff.
That's awesome. I mean, I know that not only you lead in many ways, but you also have your own business. You're a mom, and you still have time to dress up, look fabulous. I want to know. Let's go a little bit back with your business. How did it start? Why did it start? What made you say, you know what? I'm going to become a coach. I'm going to become a public speaker. What made that start?
So it's funny because I never set out to do any of this. I always say that I worked a lot of different jobs in my life. I worked in the legal field for 17 and a half years right out of high school. Then realized I was like, this is not for me. And then I went back to school and I became an interior designer. So I have a degree in interior design and I worked in commercial design for about 8 years. And then
Wow.
I was just like, this is not for me. And then I kind of launched myself into the speaking space, just listening to a gut feeling, sharing my story, and then I hit something. And then I was like, oh, wait a second, I like this. And I started to kind of explore it, but I really do feel that, and I know that many people say this, but this career kind of chose me. It pulled at me. And I said that for many years, we get caught up in this hamster wheel of the corporate world. I've got to make money so I can pay my bills. I got to make money. But at one point, this gut feeling of there's something more wouldn't shut up. And the more I try to, mute it, the louder it got until I couldn't mute it anymore and I had to kind of listen to it. And then in 2021, I had put some savings to the side. I have a great support from my family, my fiance, my son. Sat both of them down and I said, that's it. I think I got to listen to this. I don't know what it is. I think I want to be a speaker and an author and I'm going to launch myself and I need your guys to support me. And they were like, all right, we know she's already crazy, so might as well just, support her. And I did. In 2021, January, I just said no more. I gave up my comfortable corporate job. And then I set out to sit at my desk one day and say, okay, this is day one.
Yes. Was it scary when you
Oh
were
my
like,
God.
okay, this is official?
Yeah, but, look, in my coaching, and we'll get to that, I'm sure, but in my coaching, I always say, the same exact symptoms you feel when you're scared are the same exact symptoms you feel when you're excited. Sweaty palms, heart racing, butterflies in your stomach, sweaty everything, right? That anxiousness, but it's in your mind that you have to say, am I nervous or am I excited? And if you change your mindset and say, I'm just really excited right now, and
Yeah.
convince yourself little by little that you're just really excited, you find ways to connect to that excitement rather than cave into your fear,
Yeah.
right? Is it fearful? Absolutely. There was times where I was sitting there like this. What did I do? Right? Like there's no paycheck coming in.
Yeah.
It's your savings. But as I look into it 5 years later, was it worth it? In a heartbeat. I couldn't go back to my old life, even if I tried to.
Do you wish you would have done it earlier? Or do you think it was the right time, right moment?
I believe in timing. I believe that everything happens at the right time, in the perfect time, and you just have to listen to it when it's ready. Had I done it, let's say 15 years ago, when I still had that feeling, I didn't have the support built in. I didn't have the finances at that time. I didn't have the grit. I had to fall a couple of times to understand that when I launched, I was like, oh, but I fell and I got up from this. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah.
So I really do believe that it's timing. But you also have to be very aware of listening because
Yeah.
the timing will be like this. Hey, hey, hey. And some people just can live life with this hey on the side and not listen to it. But yeah, I think it's about timing.
Yeah, I think we as women, we have to put so many things in the back burner. A lot of times because we have to, and other times because that's what we were taught to do.
Yeah.
So how do you know the difference of when it's really time as to when you're not ready yet, but it's calling at you type of thing?
Well, we're very instinctual beings, right?
Yeah.
That kind of gets muddled down. Like you're not supposed to be instinctual. You're supposed to work a job and pay your bills. But if you really kind of go inward and listen to that instinct, it's always telling you when the time is right, right? Like people that are afraid of having kids, right? I never necessarily planned to have a kid, but when it happened, it was the perfect time,
Yes.
right? And then you kind of acclimate to it. For me, it felt it, and I knew it. I knew I had to jump. I knew it was scary. I knew it was exciting, but it's about just trust your feeling. You know it. And when I talk to people about that, I'm like, you know the feeling. It's sitting there, right? And it gets to a point where you can't stop thinking about it, and
Yeah.
then that's it. Kind of,
Yes, yes. So I want to know, were you always like this, like with this energy and this like joy about you and this, big smile on your face all the time, or is this an evolution of everything that has happened, everything that has come to be?
It's an evolution of the people that have come into my life. I'll give you an example. I was depressed for a very long time because of the things that happened to me in my life. And I was a victim and I owned it with pride. I was like, mire, I have a victim card and I'm going to carry it in my pocket. And anytime somebody says, why is this happening? I pull it out and I'm like, but I'm a victim. You see, this is why. And I lived my life like that for a long time and it was very exhausting. And as far as like being the happy and energetic person or giving of energy, I had to learn that. As a matter of fact, when I was in interior design school, I had a friend of mine, a dear friend that I miss tremendously. We have lost touch, but I have her in my book because she taught me how to not only receive a hug, but how to be part of a hug. And it's funny that you mentioned that my hugs are what they are, but they've evolved into that because I didn't like to be touched. I come from trauma, right? I didn't like for people to invade my space. And so I had this one friend that she just wouldn't, she was relentless. She's like, come here. And can you imagine? I would be like this. And I'm like, why is she touching me? Right? But she taught me the art of not only receiving a hug, but the importance of what that feels like to somebody else. And when she taught me that, it was like she gave me a piece of gold and she said, here. And I carry that in my pocket all the time because there's nothing like you said, like being hugged. I've hugged people like that I've just met. They're like, I haven't been hugged.
Okay, so you were talking about how your friend taught you the magic of a hug.
The magic of the hug. Yeah. So as you asked, was I always like this, or was this an evolution? Definitely an evolution of the people that have come into my life that have taught me how to receive a hug, how to give a hug. Oh, I was saying that I have hugged people, strangers, where I've given them the Erika hug that I love, by the way. I may have to coin that. I've given them the Erika hug, and they'll pull back and say, I haven't been touched in forever. I haven't been hugged in forever. And that makes me so sad.
Yeah.
And it makes me want to hug them even harder because it's such an important thing. So the smile, the hugs, the persona, the energy, it's a choice. Okay, I wake up every morning and I went to bed with a problem or whatever it is, but I make sure that every morning I wake up and I reset. What does that reset look like? Today I got to wake up. Some people don't. And so when I connect to those realities, then what do I have to be pissed off about? And don't get me wrong, I'm Colombian and Latina, so I'll be pissed. I get pissed,
Got
right?
the fire inside of you.
There's times where, the Erika, like the earrings are coming off, the Vaseline, the ghetto Erika comes out, believe it or
Leo.
not.
The Leo comes out.
But happiness, smiling, energy, all that is a choice. And I make sure that I wake up with that choice every morning.
And is that something you teach the people that you mentor and that you coach?
Yeah, 100%. So the people that come to me where I'm coaching them, I do leadership coaching. I work with people that are stuck, that they're like, Erika, I can feel it, but I don't know how to get there. Okay, bueno, let's work together. Let's figure this out together. But I teach them how to redirect their vision and their mindset to what you do have. Not a place of scarcity, but a place of abundance, right? We all have abundance, but we're so geared towards focusing on what we don't have that sometimes we forget that look at all we have, right? So I train people to how to kind of leverage themselves back to the abundance and happiness, and you're happy even in your struggles, so to speak.
And well, let's talk a little bit about your book. So I got a free book over here. No, amazing. Amazing. I'm so happy you brought this because I was like, I need to read your story because this is about your story, right? This is about what you went through, how you got your victim card.
How I got my victim card.
How you got the victim card, how you got out and put it out. And now you're writing a second one. Can you tell me more about that?
So the book that I'm writing now was supposed to be my first book. It's called Your Children Don't Belong to You. And it's a parenting book from the perspective of a role as a parent if your children didn't belong to you. I raised my only son, Cristian Chavez. I raised him on the principles that I'm writing in this book. And he's 27 years old now. And a lot of people come to me and say, wow, you guys are close, and he's such a great guy and a great kid. He's successful. How did you do it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm writing a book. So I'll be putting it all in there. But again, I knew from early on, and I was a young mom. I was 23 when I had him. And I knew somehow instinctively this kid didn't belong to me. Right? I had a responsibility to pour into him, but more importantly, listen. We're born with our inherent destiny, right? Like, so who am I to change it? Because I want him to be this, right?
Yeah.
So I I am writing the book on the playbook on how to look at your children in a different way,
Yeah.
knowing that you, at the end of the day, are going to deliver them to society, and that's when you get graded, right? What happens when you deliver them into society as adults? That's when your parenting gets reflected. So I'm writing that book now, but when I was mentoring with someone about becoming an author, she said, you've got to establish your story first. And that's why Without a Voice, A Woman's Journey to Resiliency came out first. And I have it in Spanish too, by the way. El
Nice.
Silencio de mi Voz.
Wow.
And it was kind of opening the door to people to go into what happened to me in my life and how did I get to where I am now. But more importantly is, if you connect to something that I went through in my life, here are the tools that you can use to apply it to yours so you can be a success story, or you can be a survivor or an ex-member of the victim club.
Rip that card up.
Yes.
I love that. And I know you also talked about, being a mom while still not necessarily doing your business, but you were working, you were being a mom, then you open your business. Now you're going to be celebrating your 50th birthday, which is so exciting. You look amazing and energetic. And I mean, how do you get there? What were the biggest mess ups that you had that got you there?
Well, as a parent, I always say that I dropped my son a few times, but he came out okay. He came out okay. It's okay to drop him a couple
Little
of times.
bumps.
As a parent, oh my goodness, I messed up tremendously in many ways, as much as I succeeded in many ways. But again, it's in those tripping, it's in the falling that you learn. You can't, you can't learn how to walk. Look at a child when they're learning how to walk, right? They have to fall a few times, and you encourage them to get back up so they can learn how to walk effectively. So as a parent, I did drop the ball a few times, but it was in that we found growth together, my son and I. As a business owner, I fail every day. But again, as a business owner, if you bake in the failure component into your business plan, then you're not surprised when it happens.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right? I always say bake in the failure points, right? There's going to be times where there's no income coming in. Okay, well then plan for it. But if you don't plan for it and it catches you by surprise, then that's when everybody's like, oh, what am I going to
Right.
do? Right? Bake in the failure part. What is the worst that can happen? List it out as a business owner. No clients, no money, bad reputation, whatever the worst case scenarios are, and then reverse engineer the solutions. And then that is in your business plan. So when it happens, you're like, oh, wait, I got that manual. I got the response already. So don't let it catch you by surprise. Failure is beautiful. It's supposed to be there on every aspect, in a relationship, as a parent, as a business owner. But if you're proactive about it versus reactive, then you can succeed.
I would have never thought about that. I don't know why. I mean, in business, we're going to have failure no matter what, especially in the first year. So, yeah, it makes sense to
Or the first
account for
3.
it. Or the first 10, 50. It totally makes sense. I mean, it sounds so common, but, we always, especially now that we have social media being so prominent, we see, the $1 million deals done at 6 in the morning, and the cash flowing and the easy, you don't have to go anywhere, and it's not that easy in business.
I'm a big comedian buff. Love comedians, right? And Sebastian Maniscalco.
Oh, I love him.
Love him to pieces, right? And he said something that, man, that was gold. He said, it took me 20 years to become an overnight success, right? And that's exactly it, right?
It.
Social media is not real. It really isn't. Even the stuff we put, right? I post a lot of positive stuff, but, sometimes the negative stuff I keep to myself because I have to work through it. But you have to understand that it's a tool. It's not the playbook. You have to understand that nothing is instant. Just nothing is.
That's right. And what is one thing that you're very proud of that you usually don't talk about
Very proud
in
of.
your business life? What is something that an achievement that you're like, wow, I accomplished this, and you haven't given yourself that much credit for?
Well, I'm a Leo, so I give myself a lot of credit.
As
No,
you should.
actually, we were talking before casually, and something that I think that I'm proud of that I had to learn very, very hard to do is how to accept and how to receive. As Latinas, we're not raised to receive. We're raised to be quiet, to be, that be grateful if somebody gives something to you. To ask and to receive was one of the hardest lessons for me because because of my childhood, I've lived on my own since I was 14. All of those things, I was self-sufficient. So for somebody to say, "Here, you can be helped," I'm like, "No, I got it. I figure it out by myself." So I think that one of the things that I don't talk about enough is the ability to receive, and that it's okay to receive. You don't have to feel guilty or write it down so you could pay them back. It's okay to receive without guilt. And I think that that's something that I learned from my fiance, that he taught me that, he's a Southern hospitality guy, and he taught me that receiving is okay.
That it's okay to just
Yeah.
let it come. That's
Right.
awesome. I think there's one more point I want to talk about, which is very interesting. Not every day you meet somebody that had a TED Talk. I want to know how that came about, how you got there.
So I'm a very big believer in manifesting. I seriously, and I sit in spaces where I'm just kind of like, I envision it, I feel it, I can see myself on that red dot, or anything that I want to manifest in my life. I just sit there and I feel it. Like it's already here, right? It's just that the universe is a little late, right, to deliver it. But I always knew I wanted to be a TED Talk speaker. I knew I had a story to bring out to the world. I didn't know how to get there. And in 2016, I took a trip to Bali, a 2-week Kundalini yoga trip with 12 women that changed my life. And in one of the days we were there, one of my friends that was traveling with me said, "Let's go up to the little mountain up there with the little altar." Because in Bali, there's altars everywhere.
Yeah.
I love it. And I was like, "Okay." So we went there at 5:30 in the morning. And then she said, "This is a time to manifest." And she became my mentor, actually. And I sat there and I screamed it at 5:30 in the morning on the top of the hill. They're like, "There's the Americans," right? And I said, "I'm a TEDx speaker." And she took a picture from behind of that moment. And she framed it, and she framed her moment. And that was August of 2017. In October, I get a call from a university down in Miami that said, "Hey, we want to bring you over so you can share your story." And I did, and to staff and students. And I did not know that they were interviewing me for the TED Talk. They just hadn't gotten the license yet. And then in January, I got called and said, "We didn't tell you back then because we hadn't approved the license yet, but we got approved and you're our first TEDx speaker." Literally, I
How
never applied.
exciting.
I just envisioned it, and then it came about. Now, does that work for everybody? I don't know. But for me, that's how it happened. Seriously, it was just mind blowing.
That's crazy. Like manifestation is real.
It is. It is if people only knew.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I think that when we get to thinking, we deserve more, or we deserve what we deserve as human beings, and we start loving ourselves, then we have the courage to speak out those good things that we want them to come.
And connecting to that energy. Seriously, I for weeks I was like, I see myself in that red dot. I see the stage. I could feel the audience. And that's how I treat a lot of the things that I want, right? I'm like, okay, I could feel this. I'm already there. And then I just park it there, right? And then I'm like, all right, universe, you got work to do. But it's about connecting to that energy. I'm a very big believer of connecting to the energy that's already there. And again, in that work of believing that you can receive and
Yes.
accepting that you can receive, that's part of the manifesting. It's about it's already yours. Just connect to it.
That's beautiful. Talking about receiving, I just realized we didn't talk about you being the president of Novel for a whole year. What did that entail? What did you learn? What was the hardest and the most happy moment being a president of Novel?
Well, the hardest moment was being voluntold to be the president, okay? Because I was like, no, 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 no. Like, I knew the territory. It's all alphas. I'm like, there's no way I can, lead alphas. And I'm in the leadership space. So the hardest was accepting the nomination to be president. The best part was learning that I didn't know as much about leadership as I thought I did, because this taught me so much
Yeah.
about leadership that I could have never expected or planned it. It taught me sisterhood. It taught me how to aspire to be some of these women, right? Because some of these women I respect, I value tremendously. There's my best mentors.
Yes.
So yeah, the best part was getting a family that I didn't know I needed.
That's beautiful.
And
And
yeah.
what is coming for you now?
Oh
What
my
is coming
God.
for Erica? What does the future hold for you?
Well, as far as Nabo is concerned, I kind of hand it over to the next president, and I take with me so many great memories, broken records, all kinds.
Yes.
Like I said, a sisterhood of women. So that's fantastic. What's ahead of me for me personally is I gain a little bit of time back to focus on my passion projects. The book is one of them. TPE coaching and consulting. Now I can kind of pour myself back into it in a little bit of a different way,
Yeah.
having a bigger toolbox of
Oh,
leadership,
absolutely.
tools. So I'm really excited for the next couple of years to see how I could develop that. And turning 50 in a few weeks.
Yes, so
Yeah.
exciting. You're going to do so awesome. I know that you've changed so many lives already. You've inspired so many people, not just women, but so many people. And not only clients, just people that, pass by you or meet you. I know that you put something special in their lives. And I really hope that more people get to see you, more people get to know your story, read your books, and that great things come for you.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
thank you so much for coming here. I love you,
Oh, I love you
girl.
too.
Okay.